Greetings, YouTubers of the world. I am Arcanum Fantasy, and today, for Arcanum's review, I bring you Infernal Machines. Now, this fanfic is very interesting in regards to the fact that, well, it's a one-shot that functions excellently as an opening chapter to a main story, which its sequel happens to be, and I might decide to do a review on that in the future, if I so fancy. But let's just say with this version, or rather with this opening fic, it's very likely that I'll be getting into a review on its sequel. Now, this fanfic starts off rather interestingly in a dream sequence, or something similar to that, where Twilight and her friends are all kicking back, drinking cider, and getting completely plastered. Twilight more than the rest. However, as I've stated, this turns out to be a hallucination, or rather a dream. In reality, she is helping pretty much everyone in Ponyville prevent Ponyville from being caught in a wildfire from the Everfree Forest. And Twilight overtaxed herself, creating an ice cone barrier. Well, this flame is really causing some major issues for every pony, seeing as, even as they put it out, it just seems to be continuously getting more added to it. Well, Twilight ends up having to retreat to Ponyville to pick up provisions for the rest of the firefighting team, and one of the things that she has to do is pick up some food from Pinkie Pie. Well, long story short, Twilight discovers that Pinkie Pie is actually a mechanical genius and a graduate from one of the highest ranked Earth Pony colleges in Equestria. Also, that one of Pinkie Pie's, well, no, I'm not going to say anything other than that. Let's just say Pinkie Pie and Twilight managed to shut down the source of this fire in one of the most unusual and, well, Pinkie Pie-ish ways possible. Now, what makes this fanfic very interesting is the fact that it's written entirely from Twilight's perspective, and though it's written in the present tense, it's not done so incorrectly. If you look into some of the fanfics I reviewed that did do the present tense writing from character perspective incorrectly versus the style in this fanfic, you'll understand what I mean. Whereas you see, this fanfic writes present tense in which the whole thing is pretty much a narrative, in which the main character is actually telling the audience what's going on. The main character is telling a story. Whereas in, say, Listen, it was more along the lines of telling instant thought, when in present tense it was just clumsy. Also, am I the only one who can oddly imagine Pinkie Pie building Inspector Gadget? Because that's basically what Pinkie Pie, or rather this version of Pinkie Pie, is more than capable of doing. Now, for any issues I might have: spelling, none. There are no spelling errors, at least none that I could see. Grammatical errors, none that I could see, or if they were there, they weren't really noticeable. Of/off error, I think one. There was only one moment in the whole fic where they used of instead of off. But Aside from that, none that come to mind. And I'm going to just skip past the tensing errors because, well, I've already covered that one. And pacing is done really well. And the concept of starting it off in a dream sequence was actually really well done. Let's see, what am I forgetting? Huh. Well, actually, no, that pretty much covers it. So, with all that in mind, I am greatly, greatly privileged. I feel greatly privileged to award Infernal Machines a solid 10 out of 10. Now, with all that said, you all know what comes next. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you're feeling particularly generous, stop by my Patreon account down in the description below. Or rather, the link is in the description below. Now, and after all, every little bit helps. Also, don't be afraid to stop by my FimFiction account and take a look at some of my other works, or some of my own written works, as well as any kind of fanfics in my favorites that you might find I'll do a review on if it's complete. Also, don't forget, on my Patreon account, if you become a pledge and submit $2 a month, your name will be put into a raffle, and if your name is drawn in that monthly raffle, I will do any fanfic review on any fic you have. It could be not necessarily MLP, it could be Ruby, it could be Pokemon, it could be a creepypasta, it doesn't matter. You call up on the request and I'll get to reviewing it. And with that, sleep well, my friends.